Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, and radio network. What do we have in store for you on this edition of the program? Race Stadium, signed, sealed, delivered. It's done. I've been talking about this for almost 20 years now, and it's done. Pinellas County signs off. The Rays are going to have themselves a new stadium right next to the Trop. Within 5 years, this will be all done, and a new era. Is it? It seems like it. Part of a $5 billion project over the course of the next 3 decades. So we'll look at what it means for not only Tampa, but baseball as a whole across the board. And think about this. The 2 teams in the NFL and Major League Baseball that have always been rumored to be moving within the last 60 days have deals done. The Jags and the Rays. Done. So now what for the National Football League? What's the carrot and the donkey now for Major League Baseball as well? So we're going to dive into that. Also, this is pretty cool. Baseball trading deadline. Blitz, not any big, gigantic superstars, Hall of Famers moving, but now that the trading deadline's gone, 50 games to go. 50 games to go. So, okay, what do we make of this? Down the stretch we go. So, baseball's postseason push, to me, the 5 big storylines I am looking at as we delve into August and September. And also a little Michigan mischief as the NCAA now could be issuing a postseason ban for the Wolverines for something Jim Harbaugh didn't do this last year when at Michigan, all the way back to 21. And, you know, this song and dance that we play with punishment in college sports, it is ridiculous. It is absurd. I have a solution. All right. Harp on Sports, again, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports, Twitter, at Harp on Sports, Instagram, Harp on Sports, the auditory route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcast, under the Bar, Harp on Sports YouTube page, Harp on Sports Facebook page, and of course, harponsports.com. All right. The Rays Stadium done. Good for them. It took a long time, give and take, back and forth. I think the city gets a pretty good deal when it's all said and done, right? The city picking up $312 million, or the county, the city picking up a little bit more, the Rays kicking in $700 million, where Shad Khan and the Jaguars we're going to get to was a 50-50, more of a 55-45 split. This is one of these things where the Rays are picking up what? Almost 70% of the cost. It's a pretty sweet deal when it's all said and done. 70% of the cost? Pretty sweet deal. And I take a step back now and say to myself, okay, what's it mean for the Rays? And again, different organizations go different routes here. The stadium's going to get built as part of a $5 billion project over 30 years. The way St. Pete is growing, 15 years ago, Ybor wanting it to do in Tampa, I get it. I understand that. But demographics and city landscapes change, and St. Pete pushing that in the direction. It's not exactly the same as what the Braves did, but it's a similar mindset. We're going to build this area up over here, and part of this $5 billion investment over the course of the next 3 decades. We'll see. But again, franchises go in different directions when this is all said and done. Do you go in the direction route that the Padres did? New stadium. Took them about 6-7 years to build it up. Here we go. Boom. Blitz. Go spend big bucks. Do what the Braves do. New stadium. Braves weren't exactly tight, but financially they really cut back in the late aughts and early teens. And now they go out and they spend big money on contracts. So what do? The Royals want a new stadium. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll see. I don't know what the A's are going to do when they get their new stadium. We'll see. Vegas, we'll see what type of organization that they become. The Nationals went out and spent. Now they're scaling back a little bit. They got a new stadium. The Marlins didn't do anything. Nothing. Got the new stadium and went, eh. So what type of organization are they going to be? The Twins went out and spent some money. Locked in Joe Mauer long term. When they got their new digs. What are they going to do? What's going to be the plan once this gets done? The Mariners got a new stadium in the early 2000s. Went out and spent some money. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like. We know the Diamondbacks. Well, I was back right when the franchise started. They went out and spent some big bucks. Again, we'll see what the Rays do. The thing is, all the trades that they made at the trading deadline seem to line this up for Those guys that are single A and double A right now, another year, another 2 years in the minors, right when they get about year 2 or year 3 in the big, so about 4 years from now, everything's going to hit. Is that going to work? Think of signing these guys long-term deal. Now, the Rays did try, right? With Wander. Who else is coming up through that system that's going to be that hook? We'll see. So we'll see what type of franchise they're going to become. Are they going to become the Marlins? New stadium? Nothing? Or are they going to get to a new stadium and spend? They're going to be that franchise. We'll see. So from that, and then we talk about what's next. Think about what's happened in the last 2-3 months. The two franchises in baseball and in football that have always had that carrot like a donkey dangled. That they're going to move. Both have new deals, 30-year deals, not going anywhere. The Jags and the Rays. So what's next? They've been that magic carrot. And I look back, the Rays have been involved with this since 2007. The Jags have been involved with this for 15 years. You're talking almost 2 decades now that these teams are going to move. They're going to move, and they got a deal done. As you got closer to the lease ending for both of them, they get a deal done. The Jags were 2 years away, and the Rays were 4 years away, but they get deals done. So now what? Who's next in these sports? And you find something interesting. You look at baseball. The A's don't have a new stadium. Of course, they're going to maybe do it in Vegas, but that's a mess. They're in Sacramento. If this Vegas deal falls through, I don't know what. You'd rather have an expansion team than the A's. Expansion team's going to have new ownership, exciting new looks. The A's are notoriously cheap. The A's get a new stadium in Vegas. They will be the Marlins. Somebody that's cheap their whole career, his ownership doesn't change. His stripes, it don't. So the A's, the next big thing that's going to be in play, the Royals are talking about building a new stadium, but the next big play in baseball is the White Sox. The White Sox stadium deal, it doesn't expire till the end of the decade. They've got 6 more years, but this is one that, and this is why this is a little more tricky. With Kansas City, you're talking about building the new Chiefs Stadium or improvements to Arrowhead. There's not a $3 billion tab that's coming like the Bears have in Chicago. It's a $3 billion new Soldier Field. So the White Sox are going to want a new stadium too. They've already got $3 billion invested. If the Royals get a new stadium in Kansas City, there's $600-700 million invested in Arrowhead. There's not $3 billion like there's going to be with Soldier Field. They want to move it inside the loop. There's different things that they want to do in Chicago. Now look, if this deal gets done with the Chiefs and the Royals get theirs deal done, the White Sox is the next big staging ground. It's actually the A's. But baseball's looking around. They've wanted to get these new stadiums done in Oakland and in Tampa so they can expand. They get Tampa done. Oakland falls through there in Vegas. The minute this Vegas deal gets done, Rob Manfred's going to be done here pretty soon. Does baseball then open it up and say, okay, it's expansion time. Here comes Nashville, here comes Portland. Or do they dangle the carrot with the White Sox? What happens? If you get the Vegas deal done within 6 months and that thing starts construction, then I think you see expansion. If this thing falls apart and the A's are looming back and forth, then the White Sox carrot will start to dangle. Cities like Nashville and cities like Portland should throw the world at the White Sox. Give them all the land for free. Well, we're not going to do that. Fine, then you don't get a team. And look, the White Sox have done this before. It's hard to believe Tampa was where the White Sox were supposed to move 40 years ago. Full circle, huh? Charlotte, Nashville, Austin, San Antonio, Portland. You're going to hear those names again. But now the Rays deal's done. Who's the next baseball team? We talked about the Jaguars. What's the next football team? Well, Washington wants a new stadium. They're not leaving D.C. Let's face it. They're not. I was looking at the National Football League. The Commanders want a new stadium. 10 teams in the last 2 years have gotten $500 million renovations, major new stadiums. We've got 5 new stadiums coming in the NFL, right? Jacksonville refurbish or whatever you want to call it, but still going to be a $2 billion project when it's all done. Bears going to get a new stadium. Chiefs talking about a $700-800 million remodel. The Bills are getting a new stadium. So you see all these new innovative new stadiums, everything popping up across the National Football League. Carolina's sinking $500 million into that. So I start to look around and say to myself, okay, what's the next one in the NFL? And here's what's interesting. There's no real threat to move in the NFL. Who? The only one I can think of is Tampa. That's hard to believe, isn't it? But that's going to get done as well. The Bucks aren't leaving there. The Glazers it kicked that idea around in London and all that. They'll get that done. You bet they will. And as long as you're doing 70-30, city or ownership 70, city 30, if you're the Bucks and you look around and Tampa wants to redo some things, you're like, sure, they pick up 70, we'll pick up 300 million, we're good. Again, fascinating times, but I look at this. The A's and the White Sox in baseball, once the Commanders get their deal done, which they'll get done in the next 2 years, maybe next 18 months, the Chiefs, even if they're going to go to Kansas. They're not going to leave Kansas City, the Kansas City area, metro area. There's no real threats in the NFL, except maybe the Bucks. Ford Field's 22 years old, but they're not leaving Detroit. No real threats. How about that? All right, from that to this, we'll stay in the realm of this a little bit when it comes to the football world. Going to college football. Michigan. The NCAA, you see the report today that, the whole Connor Stallions thing, the guy that was videotaping, cheating, a coach at Central Michigan has been fired for assisting in that. They won't reveal exactly what happened. Fine. That story comes out, but also we find out that Michigan, the NCAA says Jim Harbaugh may have been dishonest with them, and they're trying to figure out what punishment's going to be. But removing the national championship is off the table. Vacating wins from last year is off the table. College sports has this weird thing where college sports are like politicians. Everybody loves their politician, but thinks everybody else is crooked. And when their politician lies, you go, well, everybody lies. You ever notice that? Politicians and college football coaches are the same. As long as it's your guy, you're like, that's fine. My guy lies. Oh, no. Oh, everybody else is cheating. Same idea. So Michigan, look, the NCAA coaches and organizations and the media has no influence over this, but you've weakened the NCAA and then you want them to be an enforcement arm. That's why everybody talks about a commissioner. ADs and school presidents don't want a commissioner. They want to be able to get away with what they get away with. So I was going through and looking at this with Michigan, and this goes back to 3 years ago, when Harbaugh was doing at Michigan and recruiting and misleading the NCAA. Look, there's a solution to this. They're talking about, they're going to give them a postseason ban. Well, they'll throw that to court. They'll sue. Michigan will fight that, and then it'll get punted to next year. This is what I would do. If I'm the NCAA, I give you options, baby. Here's what you can have. You have a postseason ban, or we're going to take 21 scholarships away. You want to look? We're going to give you options. You lose 7 scholarships a year for 3 years. You're already going from up to 105. You take scholarships away, or you get a postseason ban. 21 scholarships for every year of the postseason. 7 a year over 3 years. But this is just moving. This is robbing Peter to pay Paul. This is like punishment in college football is the equivalent of like balancing the budget, the nation's debt, credit card, borrow for the future. That's all it is. How do we make this look good? Oh, okay. You don't do that. Blue bloods survive. Again, they tried the vacating wins, taking down banners, taking USC national championship away, taking Reggie Bush's Heisman away. Then they're just going to start giving this stuff back. People say, well, you can't punish the current class. They had nothing to do with it. Okay, we're going to go back and take away wins. I saw those. You can't take away then. All right, fine, we're going to punish you. We're going to take away money. Oh, you can't do that. You're punishing the current guys. Punishing college football players is the equivalent of you getting a speeding ticket. There's never a good time, right? You never win like $75 or $100 on a scratch off. You get in the car and get caught speeding. Well, there goes that money. There's never good timing when it comes to this. You never get like, I got rear-ended at a stoplight about a year and a half ago, and I was going to work. It never happens on a Tuesday when you have nothing to do the rest of the day. You never go, man, if I was going to get a speeding ticket, this was the perfect time to get it. That's how this is. So the timing's never right. Post-punishment, postseason, again, take away scholarships. Well, you're punishing the current class. Oh, you want us to punish the past class? We can fire coaches. We can suspend coaches. They do show cause, but Harbaugh's left for the National Football League. Plus, what he got in trouble for last year, they suspended him for that, right? He lost games at the beginning of the year because of what we're talking about. from 21, and then he lost games during the year for the spying thing. They're not going to take away their national championship. Those days are over. Take away scholarships. Postseason ban. And you we're going to give you the option, school. You could really have fun with it too. It's like, okay, this is what you do. You lose 21 scholarships. You have a postseason ban, or you pay a $25 million fine. And that $25 million fine gets distributed amongst the rest of the schools in the conference. Or if you really want to have fun with it, we take away your 21 scholarships and those get distributed amongst the rest of the schools. But they don't care about scholarships anymore. There's over 100 of them. Or don't adding them. If I have 105 as opposed to 106, so what? If you take away 7, now you're hurting me a little bit. So those are your options. A little Michigan mischief. But this, insert any school here. Want to wrap with this. Major League Baseball. Trading deadline comes and goes. Rays completely fire sale. Trade away 2 starters on the mound, 2 pitchers. Trade away, starting third baseman. Trade away starting outfielder, fan favorites. Everybody's gone. Okay, now what? Well, look. I understand what they're doing. Now, look, at the trading deadline, there's no Hall of Famer that got moved. There wasn't that big, gigantic name like, oh my God, look, Scherzer, Verlander were traded at the deadline. You didn't get any last year, right? You don't get any major, oh my God, I can't believe they traded that guy. As you've seen in years past at the deadline. A bunch of moves, a ton of trades, but they're small gap trades, right? No franchise pendulum trade. No, oh my God, this guy's going to put them over the hump type of deal. So what do we have here? Well, you have a bunch of people shoring what they need to shore up. And a lot of the reason you don't see these major moves anymore is people lock up their young talent long-term deals. Bobby Witt Jr., Kansas City. The Braves did it with 7 guys. Everybody locks up if you have young talent, core talent, you lock it up long-term. You seldom get to these guys that are superstars that get near arbitration that you've got them. It just doesn't happen anymore. And and even the guys that got traded last year, Scherzer and Verlander, are 40. They're at the end of their career, and the Mets just let's get rid of some of this stuff. So now what? Well, now this. 50 games to go. I've got 5 things that I'm paying attention to the next 2 months. August and September is the hunt for October begins. 5 things that I'm watching the final 2 months of the year. Number 5 on my list, doom and gloom, the Chicago White Sox. They're 27-84. That's dreadful. That's just armpit abysmal. So what am I looking at with the White Sox? Do they track down the 0-3 Tigers? Can they somehow get to 123 losses? They're on pace for it. They're historically bad. Now, what happens down the stretch, though, is you start calling some of these guys up from AAA and they're busting their balls. They want to prove something, and then all of a sudden it's tough, and other teams are trying young talent down the stretch as well, and who knows what it means. But you are in a division with the Royals making a push. You are in a division with Cleveland making a push, with the Twins making a push. So it's going to be tough. Tigers aren't going to be much of a threat, but you got 3 teams gunning for a playoff spot in that division. I think it's going to be interesting to see if the White Sox can get to 43 wins, 42 wins. So on pace for 122, 123 losses. White Sox, number 5 on my list. Number 4, the unlikely American League trio. Your division leaders right now, I say unlikely. The O's, the Guardians, and the Mariners. Then you've got the Yankees, the Twins, and the Stros. Let's face it, the American League has belonged to Houston for the last decade. Thereabout. Last 8-9 years, it's belonged to, it has. It's belonged to Houston. So, last year, of course, didn't the Rangers win it? I had to sneak in there. But it's been the Astros. So, now where are we going? Well, the Yankees haven't won a World Series in 15 years. The Orioles, you could say that they're due. Cleveland's really due. So, I mean, those 3 teams, are they going to hang on? You got the Red Sox lurking as well, the Royals lurking. But to me, I mean, think about it. Orioles haven't won a World Series since 83. Right? It's been 40 years since the Orioles won. The Indians haven't won in 80 years. Mariners have never won. They never even got to it. So you have one team that hadn't won the World Series in 40 years. You have another team that hadn't won it in 80, and then another team never even gotten there. Those are your three division winners right now. So the American League trio there at the top. Number 3 on my list, the Paul Skeens Show. Grabbed everybody, of course, by storm. Pre-All-Star break, undefeated. Since the All-Star break, 0-1 in 2 starts. Not that he's struggling, but that momentum's kind of crashed here. Is he enough? What's he probably at? What's he have? 7, 8, probably 8 starts left in him. 8 starts for Paul Skeens. You know, is he enough to put the Pirates in the postseason? Because I got news for you. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates. Wild card. Okay, they win that. Right now you got Paul Skeens against the Yankees. Paul Skeens against the Orioles. Wow. Okay. Sorry, Yankees, Orioles. Good gracious. National League. Paul Skeens against the Dodgers. Paul Skeens. Think about that. Oh my God. Paul Skeens against Bryce Harper and the Phillies. I want to see Skeens go up against Ohtani. Ooh. See? So the Skeens Show. Get him in the postseason. He's a primetime, Pirates in prime time. Number 2 on my list is, look, this is one of those things that looked a lot better at the All-Star break than it does now because this guy's in a major slump, and it's Bryce Harper. What's Bryce? Something like 3 for his last 25. His batting average has gone from 300 to 274. But it was Harper versus Ohtani, the duel for the MVP. The Phillies, the Dodgers, who's going to finish with the best record in the National League? Harper, Shea, and it's Ohtani's. I mean, he'd have to fall apart. But and Bryce Harper gets it back. He'll get it back, and Ohtani on pace for 45, 120. Harper on pace for, now it's dwindled off a little bit, but Harper's on pace for about 40, 110. This duel down the stretch last week has kind of hurt this for a little Bryce Harper, but Ohtani v. Harper down the stretch. And the number 1 storyline I'm watching the next 2 months, down the stretch we go, Aaron Judge. Can Aaron Judge hit 62, 63? Right now he's on pace for what, 59, 60? 60 home runs, 140 RBI. So 2 out of 3 years, Aaron Judge has a chance to hit 60 home runs plus. What's crazy, he's not even doing 1,000 hits yet. But Aaron Judge, I mean, I don't even know who's even in the American League that you can even. If the Red Sox would have pushed Rafael Devers, but he's going to finish 20 home runs behind him. I don't even know who. Bobby Witt Jr. is having a good year, but you're not tracking down Aaron Judge. Can Judge hit 62, Yankees postseason, track down the Orioles, here we go. So those are the 5 things I'm watching the last 2 months of the season. So there you go. Harp On Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp On Sports Twitter, at Harp On Sports Instagram, Harp On Sports, the auditory route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Harp On Sports Facebook page, Harp On Sports, the YouTube channel, and of course, harponsports.com. Remember, to clean, stay focused, stay strong. Frankenstein, have fun with your friends.